Well, you have to excuse me because I actually came from a very different environment just half an hour ago. I had an art exhibition to officiate, and now I'm with Empower, working with marginalized groups. So we are perhaps a marginalized group now, among other things. But I am happy that you have a forum on the Auditors General's report, which was issued for 2007. The first point I would like to say that technically the Auditor General's report that was referred to is actually a new thing that has been done in the past. What the Auditor General does is encouraging, while doing the audits, was encouraging a lot of the government departments and agencies in getting their accounts ready by the beginning of the present year, and is getting last year's accounts ready. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, according to my conversation with the Auditor General, it was actually a recent thing for all the government departments and agencies to finally be able to submit their accounts on time, which means that the first quarter of the subsequent year. And the special report that we referred to actually is a supplementary report that saw the Auditor General and the staff doing special audits for various programs and various ministries or agencies on a selective basis. So if you refer to last year's Auditor General's report, which not all of us probably remember, because it was not as exciting as this year's Auditor General's report. Because last year's report was on activities, there was one specific project that it looked at, which was the road project in Brazos Hill. But the rest of the reports, and I'm talking about last year's report, and the rest of the audit work that was performed on a special basis were on activities, and therefore what came out from last year's Auditor General's report was not as exciting as this year's Auditor General's report. And this year's Auditor General report focused on various activities and various programs, and one of them was the famous that everybody remembers is about the screwdrivers. Right? Everybody remembers that, but we have to put it also in perspective. It happened. The project was in 2001, and the reason why that project was only audited last year and made the report made available this year is because by that time, only then, the accounts were closed. So it was not something that happened last year, although the report is for last year. So we have to really, while we get excited about it, I think also put everything into perspective. And we certainly should commend the Auditor General for coming out with that kind of report. And we also should acknowledge what are the subsequent changes. One of the changes that has happened arising from this year's report, the report that was presented this year, was that they all agreed, and the government agreed, that the audit, the internal audit, and all the government departments should not be from civil servants who are just put there because there was nobody else, to occupy those positions. The auditor, the internal audit committees or the internal audit department of various ministries would come from the AG's department, Auditor General's department. So that means there is already the changes that maybe not so as exciting as calling for local elections, but the changes do come, and I think maybe patting myself on the back, but I don't remember. Do you remember the previous PAC chairman? My point. That's why one of the changes that I've done in the PAC is to put all the photographs of the former PAC chairman on the wall, so that it doesn't. We don't have a system in this country. Sometimes it is always the current one who gets his photograph taken and put on the wall. Like if I'm Prime Minister, it's my time for to be on the wall. But I'm being generous, so I like to put the. You have to forgive my sense of humor. I like to show the progress and the progression and the historical basis, the continuity that's important. So the changes, I suppose, happens maybe because of somebody like me who gets excited, gets interested, been threatened to be sued by Amin Shah, been threatened with contempt of court by Matthias Chang, right? But again, I think I would survive. I would not be able to do this if I was myself not asked to do it. Well, and I think, I believe that there's a reason why I was made chairman of the PAC, and knowing my funny sort of sense of humor, my reputation, up till today, let me say that I've never been reproached by the Prime Minister. I mean, as far as my party boss. I have heard of murmurings of unhappiness with the PAC chairman in cabinet, but to be fair to the Prime Minister, I think he has not said, "Hey, Shahrir, can you quieten down, or can you avoid doing your work or something like that, or can you look at something else?" And I think that's why I think that sometimes we don't give him enough credit. This Prime Minister whom everybody says is sleeping at meetings, and we don't give him enough credit, because what we have here today is something perhaps that we never had for a long time. I remember the lawyers marching, right? Great, fantastic, but I think the whole thing happened in 1988. That's when it started. And what happened then? Why didn't the lawyers march then? There, Teresa, she sits in the corner. And I remember I had my own by-election in 1988. No fear of the Elections Commission. I won. It was a big deal. But we make a stand. We all have to make a stand and accept the consequences. Teresa goes and stands as a DAP member, and she wins. And is your father? Is that your father? No, you keep alone. And anyway,